Annie in Chattanooga, whose local Granger team knows him by name. We're here for you and all the ones who get it done, with 24/7 customer support and access to product specialists to help you find what you need. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
April 4th, 1983, the finals in Albuquerque pitted the heavily favored Houston Cougars against Jim Valvano and NC State. Surprisingly, the Wolfpack controlled the tempo of the game and stayed close throughout. And with the score tied and time winding down, Derek Wittenberg launched a 35-foot air ball that was grabbed by teammate Lorenzo Charles, who slammed it home to give the Wolfpack a stunning 54-52 win. But the indelible image was after the shot, as a frenzied Jimmy V ran around the court looking for somebody to hug.
That's what happens in college athletics. There was a bunch of kids, who went out and beat one of the best basketball teams in the country. They might beat us 9 out of 10. They might beat us 99 out of 100. But today they didn't.
With another great moment in tournament history, I'm Kevin Kugler.
When you feel like Vegas, there's just one place to stay. Grab a drink at the Holo Holo Bar. There's just one place to play. We got a fresh, hot look, a new sports book. We got those local meals, just like Auntie cooks. Aloha spoken here.
Get back to Vegas with Vacations Hawaii. Airfare, hotel, meals, and transfers, just $777.
Aloha, this is Coach Timmy Chang. Join my staff and me at the 28th Annual Ed Wong Memorial Golf Tournament on Tuesday, April 12th. We'll be raising much-needed funds for our Rainbow Warriors Brotherhood, one swing and one putt at a time. Register your 3-person team today, or if you aren't able to make it on April 12th, I encourage you to join the Na'Koa Football Club. For more info and to register, visit na'koa.org. Aloha.
Doctors of Waikiki is concerned about our community. Wash your hands frequently. Wear your mask in public. Keep social distancing of 6 feet or greater. If you feel you're experiencing COVID-19 symptoms, go to doctorsofwaikiki.com to schedule your appointment. They are the only doctor's clinic in Hawaii that provides rapid COVID-19 PCR tests, which gives results in minutes. Face mask is required upon entering the clinic. You are required to provide an ID and proof of insurance. Go to doctorsofwaikiki.com now for your appointment.
Bobby Curry, Josh Pacheco, and the Sports Animals talk here. ESPN Honolulu, KKEA Honolulu, AM 1420 and 92.7 FM. Welcome to the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu. Brought to you by Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge. For every sport, for every game, for everyone. In the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
It is the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu and our Facebook page as well. Gary Dickman and Derrick Low here for the last time during the regular season. Derrick and I will be in Las Vegas next week for the Big West Tournament. In a perfect world, we'll be doing this again next Saturday, which would mean Hawaii is in the championship game. More on that part a little bit later. It is the last game of the regular season. Hawaii going up against Northridge. CSUN is the opponent with a 3-12 record. We'll focus a little bit more on them a little bit later. Our special guest will be former Rainbow Warrior and Electricians Hawaii player with Derrick Low in the NCAA Summer League. Tim Shepard will be joining us a little bit. And usually at the end of the show, we go over Big West scores and the standing. We're going to start with that right now. We'll expand and talk a little bit more about it later on, but I know a lot of people are curious about Hawaii and where they will be in the Big West tournament. So earlier today, Irvine on the road at CSU Bakersfield did win 66-61. Right now, Irvine's tied with Hawaii, 9-5 record. Hawaii is still playing, as we mentioned, in an hour. Excuse me. That'll break that tie. They can finish in a tie. Also right now, the game just went to overtime. Riverside, and this is a game of a lot of interest for Hawaii, Riverside and Long Beach State tied at 63. Long Beach State has already clinched an overall number 1 seed. To win the Big West outright, they need to win or have Fullerton lose. And Fullerton will be starting in about 30 seconds from now, hosting Davis. The Riverside part, though, is interesting. They are tied with Hawaii right now. They own the tiebreaker by beating us in the one game they played this year. If Riverside wins, Hawaii cannot surpass them in the standing. As of right now, Hawaii can still finish between 2nd and 6th, which is still crazy. with one game in the book, one game just about to be completed. Again, if Riverside wins or loses, well, maybe narrow it down a little bit more. I still think Hawaii's headed to our collision course with Santa Barbara again. And that's going to be a tough one to be on a neutral court, of course. We'll give you updates at halftime, Bobby, throughout the game as well. Derek, your thoughts on where Hawaii might finish and the possible opponents? It's really looking like Riverside, Irvine, or Santa Barbara, if we want to narrow it down right now. Those three are the only possibilities.
Yeah, well, I mean, sounds like, a tough possibilities ahead for UH. But, yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the finishing from 3 to 6 or 3 to 6. It's like
2 to 6 technically right now.
Yeah, 2 to 6. Like it's a big gap, and and it always sucks to have to rely on the other teams, right? That's the only down part. But it's just going to be very interesting, like you said, to see where UH falls and who they match up with, because this league, I think if UH comes right, they have a good chance. But definitely an up road battle if they got to face Santa Barbara or Irvine or someone like that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about CSUN, again, we'll get more on their players and some of the memories from the last game where Hawaii beat them by 7 a little over a month ago. But Irvine we split with, Santa Barbara, Hawaii split with, Riverside won the only game that we played. So, and that was on the road at Riverside. I'd still rather face Riverside. I think Santa Barbara, even though that game was really up for grabs throughout, and Hawaii had way too many turnovers in the first half, I still rather play Riverside, all things being equal. And again, it's going to be one of those three teams. So we'll know more in the next few minutes about Riverside and Long Beach State. And then at halftime, I'll be back and give you an update on the Fullerton game as they are starting right now against UC Davis. By the time the game ends tonight, right around 7 o'clock, Bobby should have the brackets basically set, at least for Hawaii, who they're playing and when. We look at it real fast. Let me just pull this up. If Hawaii, again, finishing between 2nd and 6th are the possibilities, I still see it as probably going to be 3rd through 6th. Because Fullerton would have to lose and Hawaii would have to win. But the brackets read like this on the men's side. If you're the 4 versus 5 team, you're playing at 12:30 p.m. Hawaii time on Thursday. If you're the 3 versus 6 on Thursday, you're playing at 6:30 p.m. Hawaii time. So that, I think, is going to fall in one of those two, and we'll just hope for the best. Either way, it's not going to be easy. I like the way Hawaii played the other night for the most part, and let's get into that right now, Derek. This is a game where Hawaii did lead at halftime. They shot 63% in the first half. The only reason they only led by 3, though, is because of the 14 turnovers, which is enough for a game, and they did it in the first half. Only 3 in the second half, but what an unusually played game as far as the tale of both halves on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, much to say about that. I mean, Hawaii shot the ball as good as they possibly could have. That's an unbelievable clip to shoot. But on the other end, right, UH's Achilles heels is the turnovers. And, we can always, the game is over, so we can always look back and kind of say like, oh, this contributed to the loss or this contributed to the win, however you want to look at it. But it always comes down to, the turnovers, our ability to take care of the ball and limit the other team's points off of our turnovers. So yeah, it's just unfortunate that we had 14. It took us that long, right, to kind of figure it out. Second half, great with the ball, but it's the first half. It just kind of killed us.
We talked before the game about how Hawaii playing Santa Barbara the first time, and one of the stars of that game and that big comeback was Sheppard with those 4 threes in the second half. He started on Thursday where he left off last month against Santa Barbara. He had a really good game. He hit 5 threes overall, and I think 4 of them were in that second half. And they had a big run in the first half, and he hit a couple of threes. The Rosiers with a couple of threes. They combined to shoot 8 of 15 on threes. Hawaii did a really good job there. It was more so the points in the paint. Hawaii's defense has been really exceptional of late, and we've talked about that numerous times. But points in the paint for Santa Barbara, way too many. 46 of their 67 points in the paint, which is fortunate for them because they only shot 1 of 12 on threes. Hawaii just couldn't stop them, especially down the stretch of the second half.
Yeah, that was one of our main issues we were talking about last show. If we would be able to protect the paint and guard them inside, But they're tough. They got some good players. They got some quick players that can get into the paint, get a lot of paint touches. And, unfortunately, we just didn't stand our ground as best as we did last game against them. But that's basically what it comes down to. I mean, we did a good job. They didn't shoot much threes, but right. Still 8.3%. Hawaii got to be happy about that. But then the other side to it is, hey, we got to keep them out of the paint, and we got to do a better job at that. But, that's just a fact. We got pounded inside.
A few too many easy baskets for Santa Barbara, especially down the stretch of that game, which leads me to a player that we've talked about numerous times, as well as many of the other starters. Bernardo De Silva did not have his best game again. 0 points at halftime. He ended up with 2 points and 4 rebounds. He had 4 turnovers, and I believe all 4 were in the first half. And he could not stop Amadou Sow in that second half. Couple of easy baskets for Sow. He doesn't, even if you're covering him hard or really tight, it's hard for him to be stopped. But when you're giving him easy looks like that, that was kind of a difference maker there. They're going to really need Bernardo De Silva. And I'm already going to say it now. He's going to be my H-factor player. He's got to step it up. And again, last Saturday on senior night here, he had a really good game, 14 points, 9 rebounds. He's been inconsistent this season. I know part of it might have been the injuries and coming back from the layoff. Right now he's healthy, and I know he has that potential. I know he has the talent. He's got to bring it tonight. He really does.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's one of the big 6 on this team. On my notes, that was actually one of my question marks, like Bernardo De Silva, kind of like, what's up? What's up with him? We know he can be really good. We know he's a high energy player who can provide a lot of offense and defense for the team. But, like you said, 25 minutes, 2 points, 4 rebounds, 4 turnovers, just doesn't seem like he was involved much. And for a player of his caliber, he needs to get assertive and really involve himself a lot more for UH to be successful.
Yeah, I mentioned he didn't score in the first half. He only took 1 field goal attempt in the second half, and he did make it. Another player I thought really stepped up, and he's been doing it a lot more than people might realize or give him credit for, Jovan Mcclanahan again. 13 points. He had 2 rebounds, but again, 6 assists, 1 turnover, the same as he had last Saturday. When your starting point guard is a 6-to-1 ratio, he's doing his job. And he hit his free throws. He had 7 out of 10. Hawaii was only taking 11. They didn't take any in the first half. Kamaka Hepa missed his 1 free throw. But Jovan Mcclanahan, I thought, did a good job. I know he got blocked by Amadou with about 9.5 seconds left. Still, I liked his overall game on Thursday. I thought he did his job.
Yeah, that's what you want to see from your point guard, from your lead guard. Just take care of the ball, limit turnovers as much as possible. And he did that against a really good defensive team who puts a lot of pressure on the guards, who's quick guards on the perimeter. So that was real encouraging to see. Hopefully Jovan can continue that trend going into tonight's game, because again, that's going to be one of my keys, is limiting turnovers, as it has been a lot of times this year.
One update in the game we're really focusing on in scoreboard watching. With 1 minute and 8 seconds left in overtime, Long Beach State has a lead over Riverside, 71-69. Again, for Hawaii's purposes and future in the Big West tournament, we would like to see Riverside lose. That would help Hawaii's chances of going up in the standing after the regular season is concluded tonight. Just going back to Hawaii again, we talked about Mcclanahan. I know we always focus on Jerome DeRosier. Another solid game, 15 points. He did have 4 rebounds, an assist, a steal. So I thought he did a pretty good job, and he had his work cut out for him defensively with both Norris and Amadou Sow. But he had a couple of big threes, and he shot 3 of 6 on 3-pointers. We talked about him on Thursday. To me, he is the most consistent player on this team from day one to the last day of the regular season. He's that guy. Most consistent player, and, I think both of our picks for MVP of the team this year. But he did exactly what we expect him to do and what we know he can do. Provide points, provide shooting from the outside, and defensive presence inside. The one thing that I remember, he did a decent job against Saul, especially the last game. But but one of my things that you mentioned that De Silva had a hard time on Saul this past game. One of my things was I think he lets Saul get too much inside position. He waits too long to bump him and give him resistance. By the time Saul was inside,
big and strong and athletic as he is, it's hard to stop anyone when they're that deep. So, I mean, I'm not a post player by all means. I give credit to them banging and putting work inside. But the one thing that I was always taught, when you have a dominant inside player, you got to stop them early. You got to meet them early. And I saw too much times where we just let them get positioned too deep, too late. So, yeah.
Right. And I kind of labeled it almost as missing in action. And one thing you might think, some of the listeners might think this is good for Bernardo De Silva. He did not commit a foul on Thursday. You know what? When you're covering a guy like Amadou Sow down low, maybe you should commit a foul just to let him know you're there and you're not going to let him get any easy baskets. You hit him once or twice, maybe he's going to hesitate the next time, maybe think twice, whatever it is, but you got to get physical. And it didn't seem like that was the case on Thursday night. Enough about Thursday, as we'll move on to what's going to take place tonight and next week. But first, we're going to talk about the past when Tim Shepard joins us in just a few minutes. Gary Dickman and Derrick Low here as you are listening to the Rivals Pregame Show, brought to you by Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge. For every sport, for every game, for everyone in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge is your home for the ultimate sports viewing experience. Enjoy all the sports up close and in style. Enjoy March Madness with the best wings in town. Watch the NBA with a slice of Waikiki pizza. Then wash it down with an ice-cold seltzer or local brew. Rivals has one of Oahu's most extensive whiskey collections too. For every sport, for every game, for everyone. Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
The revolutionary safety of the Michelin Premier family of tires is now available for more cars, trucks, minivans, and SUVs. So whatever you drive, you can take on wet or slippery roads with confidence, mile after mile. The Michelin Premier family of tires. Safe when new, safe when worn. When you are in the need for tires, visit LexBrodies.com for easy online tire quotes and appointments.
Safe refers to wet braking, wet handling, and hydroplaning resistance when tires are new and worn to 5/32 of an inch.
Lex Brody's Tire Company would like to say thank you very much for supporting UH. Wear your favorite UH gear into Lex Brody's and get an extra 5% off tires, brakes, and most other services on top of LexBrodys.com Super Saver coupons. You're the best fans, and Lex Brody's voted #1 in North America is the best choice for brake repairs and to purchase tires. Please visit LexBrodys.com for additional details and to set an online appointment.
Thank you very
Lex Brody's Tire Company.
Well, what you doing now?
I'm doing my own PV system, and I get homey fall-proof gear.
Well, I don't think bubble wrap and duct tape going to work.
Yeah, I get them. Check this out.
Okay. Well, you okay?
I think that heat expanding stuff is true. Getting small kind of hot in here.
Oh, no.
It's raining over here. How we pump water stuff?
Oh,
careful.
Make sure to have an electrical contractor and licensed electrician do your photovoltaic installations and electrical work.
IBEW Local 1186, lighting your path to the future.
Home renovations on your mind? Finance Factors can help. We've been helping Hawaii's families for 70 years. Whether you're looking for a home equity line of credit or a cash-out refinance, our experienced loan officers are here to help you reach your home goals. Call us at 808-548-3300 or apply online at financefactors.com. Finance Factors, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 449916, member FDIC.
When you feel like Vegas, there's just one place to stay. Find it at the Cow. Grab a drink at the Holo Holo Bar. There's just one place to play. Find it at the Cow. We got a fresh, hot look, a new sports book. We got those local meals, just like Auntie cooks. Aloha spoken here. Find it at the Cow.
Get back to Vegas with Vacations Hawaii. Airfare, hotel, meals, and transfers, just $777.
This is the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu.
And Derrick Low here in the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu and our Facebook page as well. We'll give you updates on Big West Score in just a minute, but this is the time when we get to talk to a former player, and I've always been a big fan of his from when I watched him over the years, not only for UH, but in the Summer League, where he was a teammate of our Derrick Low, as we welcome in Tim Shepard. Tim, thank you so much for joining us. It's always great to catch up with you. You know, I look at your career from 1989 to 1993. third all-time in field goal percentage, 54%, eighth all-time in total rebound. I just loved everything about your game. I describe you as blue-collar. Would you describe yourself like that?
Thanks for having me, first off. And, yes, I consider myself.
And I don't hear Tim. Is he there? Oh, there we
Hello?
go. Yeah,
Okay.
Go ahead, Tim. Sorry, we didn't hear the first thing you said.
Oh, no, so thanks for having me. And, yeah, I did consider myself like the workhorse of the team. So I just did what I had to do and, tried to help everybody else and put a win on the board.
I compare you a little bit to Charles Oakley, who's one of my top favorite players ever in NBA history, because he didn't do a lot of talking. He could score whenever he needed to, but again, he did all those little things, played good defense,
Right.
was physical, and I always compared you to him when I watched you play, so I just wanted to say that. Before I pass it on to Derrick, I want to ask about a few things, but one of them is that game against Pittsburgh when they were, I believe, number 2 in the country, and I remember it on Sunday night in Blaisdell, and you guys beat them. What was that like, beating a team so prestigious with Sean Miller and Pitt?
Oh, that was one of the greatest moments, man. That was, we kind of felt validated in that win. Our team was legit, and we won that game up and up. It was just a great moment. I'll never forget that game.
And Derrick has some questions for you.
Hey, Big Shep.
Okay.
How's it going, Big Shep?
Hey, how you doing, Derrick?
Oh, good. Hey, man. Not only UH's finest, but electrician's finest. Tim Shepard, right? So, but hey, man, one of the most physically imposing and scary players that I've ever seen. I think if I had to play against Shep, I definitely would try to avoid him as much as possible. But pleasure playing with him in the summer league. But Shep, a lot of players these days that I see, they want the glory and they want to score and they want to do all the stuff that can make highlights. But as Gary was mentioning, and you referred yourself to a blue collar player, doing whatever was necessary to win, set screens, getting your teammates open, grabbing boards, whatever it took. Like, what do you attribute that to? That mentality? How did you get to that and carve that niche out for you?
You know what? It's just making a shift from high school, kind of being the man in high school, then coming to college, and then trying to figure out where I belong. I had the Reggie Crosses and the David Hallam's, and, I had a bunch of scorers around me, and it just wasn't enough basketball. So I kind of took it upon myself to kind of reinvent myself, so that I can stay on the court. And that was to rebound, play D, and, do what I have to do. So I was able to play as long as I have by beating out all the 7-footers and the 6'9" guys that we had, and, and just doing what I can to make this team run.
You played at the Blaisdell during your career, and there were so many memorable games there. The Rainbow Classic when you guys played Kansas and North Carolina in 92 and back-to-back nights. Yeah. Also, those NIT games, I guess, in 89, 90 when you played Stanford, Long Beach State, and then those were the home games. I guess New Mexico, I believe, was on the road. But what was that experience like, playing at the Blaisdell with those crowds, and especially in those NIT years? I just remember the crowds lining up outside to get in. Yeah, those NIT games, that was unreal. And Kansas was kind of surreal. I just remember playing against Greg Montross, and, he was probably the biggest dude I ever played against. And he just, there was nothing I could do with him. He felt like it was a 7-foot, 400-pound guy, and he can do whatever he wants. But it was just the experience for me playing with possible future NBA players, and, that I would see him on TV, and, and I said, yeah, I played against him, and, and all this, and it was just a great experience. And then, for me, it was also the crowd, the fans in those games. It was just nuts, dude, those games, and it was just a great time at that time. Tim Shepard joining us here in the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu and our Facebook page, talking about his great career at the University of Hawaii. I look back at some of the other teammates. You mentioned a few a minute ago, but Chris Gaines, Ray Reed, Phil Lott, Troy Bowe, some of the greatest players to ever play for Hawaii were playing during your time here. It must have been really fun to play with such talented players. Yeah, it was fun and interesting. So, I had some characters during my years, a bunch of good guys. We had a good times on the road.
You know, so it was just fun, you know, learning from those guys too. You know, they came in as grown men and I was a freshman. So being able to practice and learn from those guys, you know, from all over, you know, the states, was just beneficial to me and everybody else.
What was it like playing in the WAC then? Like, what teams do you consider your biggest rival? I know obviously BYU would always be up there, but what do you remember about the WAC rivalry and some of those long road trips you guys had to take?
You know, I just think basketball in general was different back then. So the WAC was tough. You know, obviously BYU, I would put Wyoming up there. I would put Utah up there. Definitely New Mexico. Because, you know, each one had their players that was tough to play against. The atmosphere, the Air Force was tough because of altitude. That was always a killer. You know, so Wallace would just go crazy with us on the first day of practice with altitude. You know, so it was just tough all around in those places. The pit was just brutal. You know, so I had to get used to that. So, but good times.
So would you say New Mexico had the most rowdiest fans? Would that be accurate?
Oh, they were up there. I would say, yeah, because they were close on the court too, and then you had to come down, and everything was focused on the court. But yeah, it was pretty brutal over there.
We have talked to numerous players throughout the season. Half of them at least have played under Riley Wallace. And the stories we've gotten are, to me, unexpected, just about Riley Wallace going to Jaren Akana's mother's funeral, things like that. Carl English talked how intimidated he was to go up against a guy the size of Riley Wallace, talking about possibly transferring. Chris Walls told some great stories. What do you remember most about Riley Wallace? Besides the X's and O's, tell us what you remember mostly about Riley.
You know, his coaching style was a little bit different. You know, he was in your face, you know, so you got to get used to the verbiage that he used on you. You know, but it was always to kind of motivate you and test you and push you, you know, so you had to be mentally tough to deal with him. You know, the stories, you know, for me go back to, you know, running. You know, him having us run 17 sidelines before a game at pre-warm-ups and stuff like that, you know. So, you know, if he was in a bad mood, watch out. You know, we had to run, you know. So, but on the flip side, you know, he was a funny guy, you know, so he cracked jokes every now and then. But, you know, overall, yeah, he was just a tough guy, man, and you had to learn how to deal with him.
I know you went back to UH. You were the director of ops for a couple of years with the team. Is coaching at all in your future?
You mean now or then?
No, now after you had a little taste of it a few years ago.
No, man. You know, I learned that I got in too late. I think I would have loved to continue my coaching career, but, you know, I think I get in when you're young or younger, and start building those connections and, you know, with other coaches and things like that early on. I just didn't have it, didn't see it in my future. So I just made a switch, but it was good experience for sure.
You, like many players that came from out of state, decided to live their lives here. What was that decision like for you to make sure Hawaii is your permanent home?
Oh, dude, that was easy. That was really easy. For me, number one, you know, it's the Aloha State. You know, when I got here, I got family here. They took care of me. You know, all the people I've met, all the relationships I built, easy. You know, on top of that, the weather. Didn't want to go back to the snow. You know, so I figured I'd stay. Met my wife here. You know, so everything just kind of clicked, and it was a very, very easy choice. You know, I got to play with the likes of Derrick Low over my years and Kyle Pate and all those other guys, you know, so, you know, kind of built those relationships on the court too. So definitely was going to stay here.
When you said that, it reminded me of something. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know how many years ago, it wasn't that long ago in the summer league, you were coaching. And if I have it right, your team didn't have enough players and you had to suit up unexpectedly. Did that happen?
I don't remember. You know, I'm getting old, man. So, you know, the stories kind of get mixed up. But, yes, I had to suit up, I think, once. once or twice in my time as a coach, yeah.
Okay, I think I remember that. You know, you said how basketball has changed a lot since you played. Can you give us an example of what you noticed about the style of at least college basketball, maybe on or off the court, and how it's different from when you played?
For me, personally, it's just the physicality of it. You know, the refs are calling it differently and tighter. You know, I personally would not survive in this basketball nowadays. You know, I'd foul out in the first 3 minutes. But, you know, and it's all just pick and rolls, you know, which I understand the evolution of it, and three-point shooting. You know, so, you know, it's changed. But, you know, to me, mainly is the physicality of it and the rules. And I know they're, you know, looking for player safety and things like that. But to me, those are the biggest things that changed.
Yeah, three-pointers especially. I mean, the numbers that are taken is amazing compared to back then. Hey, before we let you go, Tim, and we appreciate you joining us, can you give us an update on your son, Zion? I know he played high school basketball here and then also played college basketball. How is he doing these days?
Well, he's doing great. He's done with school. He is an entrepreneurial type spirit. He is in L.A. running his own businesses, and he's doing great. No problems. He's still playing over in the L.A. summer leagues and things like that. But doing very well. He can't be bad though, but he's doing all right.
Well, it's good to hear that. It's great to talk to you again. One of the favorites, not only myself, but all the Hawaii basketball fans. Thanks for sharing some memories with us, Tim. Hopefully we can keep in touch and do it again sometime.
All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Talk to you guys later.
All right. Thank you so much. Tim Shepard joining us here on the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu. And I just love those blue-collar guys, and he was amongst my top 5 favorite players. And there's a ton that played at UH. I just love the way he played the game. Well, speaking of the game, we're going to give you some updates and maybe some good news for UH as we'll go over a scoreboard of a game at least or two when we return on the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu and our Facebook page.
Meadow Gold Dairies Hawaii is honored to support University of Hawaii as their official milk partner, nourishing and fueling UH athletics with chocolate milk, white milk, orange juice, and POG. Meadow Gold is proud to provide families in Hawaii with the best dairy, juice, and ice cream products for over 124 years. As our University of Hawaii continues their quest to win and become champions, we celebrate their success. Go Bows!
Hardware Hawaii. Customer first in Kailua.
Hi, this is Eddie. I'm the lead lumber for Hardware Hawaii in Kailua. I like helping customers find what they need. It's not like another stranger just shopping here. My customers are like my friends, and then I just help them out, and I feel good. And it just makes my day. We're out here in the lumberyard ready to serve you.
Hardware Hawaii. Customer first in Kailua.
Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge is your home for the ultimate sports viewing experience. Enjoy all the sports up close and in style. Enjoy March Madness with the best wings in town. Watch the NBA with a slice of Waikiki pizza. Then wash it down with an ice-cold seltzer or local brew. Rivals has one of Oahu's most extensive whiskey collections too. For every sport, for every game, for everyone. Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
In 1936, Farrington High School opened. Our first traffic light was installed at Nu'uanu in Beretania, and the Oahu Teachers No. 3 Federal Credit Union was founded, today known as Hawaii USA Federal Credit Union. Much has changed since 1936, but our commitment to our community hasn't. See how you can join and receive beneficial products and services for your ohana. Visit HawaiiUSAFCU.com. Insured by NCUA, an equal housing lender. Hawaii USA. Choose wisely because life matters.
At BMW, we made the ultimate range of SAVs. And because each of the 7 X-Range sports activity vehicles flawlessly balance dynamic power, spacious size, and sleek design, you can choose from a fleet that fits perfectly into your life. Like the versatile and bold X1, the unbelievably powerful X3, or the luxurious X7. No matter who you are, no matter where you're going, no matter what's next, there's an X to take you there.
Special offers on the BMW X1, X3, and X5 at BMWHawaii.com.
When we talk about reimagining healthcare at Hawaii Pacific Health, we're really talking about you. Because making it easier for you to be healthier is what it's all about. With video visits to see your doctor from anywhere. With virtual urgent care. with more clinics near where you live and work. And with a personalized approach that focuses on prevention. We're reimagining healthcare for you. Visit hawaiipacifichealth.org/telehealth.
This is the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu.
We're back. Harry Dickman and Derrick Low doing a little scoreboard watching during the break and trying to figure out the latest scenarios. What I will give you guys now is there's one game that has been completed. I said a few minutes ago about Long Beach State and Riverside. Long Beach State in overtime, 2 free throws with less than a second left, and they defeat UC Riverside 73-72. So that is good news for Hawaii because now if Hawaii wins, they avoid tying Riverside and losing that tiebreaker. Fullerton right now is playing UC Davis. Fullerton leads that game 19-15 with 7:30 left in the first half. So the latest scenario, and I'm just doing it in my head, but I believe it is this. If Hawaii wins, they are the 3rd seed. They would then be 10-5. Riverside is 9-6. Irvine is 9-5. Again, if Hawaii wins and Fullerton wins, it's Hawaii 3 versus Santa Barbara 6 in the first round of the Big West tournament. If Hawaii loses today, it looks like they would drop to 6th place by virtue of tiebreakers. And then they would get the 3rd seed, which the way I see it now would be Riverside. Because Irvine 9-5 and Rivers actually would be Irvine as the 3rd seed. Mm-hmm. So because they would have a half game lead over Riverside as they have. Now I know it's a little confusing and we'll clear it up a little bit more by halftime, but it looks like Hawaii will either be the 3rd or the 6th seed. 3 seed, you got Santa Barbara. 6 seed, then it could be Irvine. Either way, it's going to be a tough game, but I'm glad that Riverside lost.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes things a little bit better, but still, you know, when you think about Santa Barbara and Irvine, 2 of the most dominant teams in the past in the conference. So, you know, definitely teams with championship DNA that UH will have to go up against. But either or, I'm sure UH is up for the challenge.
Yeah, and again, it looks like either 3rd or 6th, and would be Riverside if they lose, Santa Barbara if they win, and we'll keep our eyes on that. So, Derek, let's spend a couple of minutes talking about CSUN. Hawaii defeated them 72-65 the first time they played them, and that game was on January 27th, the home game here. That was a game where Bernardo De Silva did have a very good game. He had 19 points in that game. He was the leading scorer. I would love if that were to happen today. For CSUN, again, with the 3-12 team, they had 18 points from Atkin Wright. Christian Gray added 16, and Elijah Hardy was 12. 2 of 12 on 3-point. They only committed 4 turnovers in that game. You were talking turnovers earlier. They have done a decent job of that, at least in that first time around, only with 4, and overall for the season, only averaging 12. So that's one area where they've actually done a pretty good job at.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the other things that I remember about that game when I was watching, that was the game where their interior passing was on full display. That was when they were passing inside. You know, they were going to set a screen by the free throw line, and then they slip, and then they get a few of those dump downs. That was their interior passing was awesome, and they got so many easy buckets near the rim during that game, and it made things a lot easier for them. So that was one of the things that I remember. The other thing was, you know, we killed them on rebounds. I believe it was 41-26, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that, I believe, yes.
Yeah, but yeah, we dominate the boards, and that's what happens. You dominate the boards, you limit their second chance opportunities, and you get out and you score easy baskets. Simple, right? And UH did a really good job at that.
What they didn't do a good job in that game, even though they won and shot 48% from the field, almost like Santa Barbara at 50. The other similarity to Thursday, Hawaii had 16 turnovers that first game. We've said enough about that, but you're not going to win many games with 16 turnovers, but you shot very well, out-rebounded them to make up for that. That's got to be a key. And what bothers me or concerns me about that, it seems like a lot of these turnovers when you're having multiples in a minute or two or those halves of stretches of 10 or more turnovers, is that a lot of them are unforced. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're getting pressed and you're just turning the ball over. You can't handle the double team or the full court press. You're just throwing bad passes away, dribbling the ball out of bounds. Not all the time, but there have been a number of turnovers, again, self-inflicted. Hopefully that won't be the case today.
Yeah, exactly. And, I'm not too sure what CSUN is going to do today. But they did throw some presses or some soft zone traps or whatnot, right? And UH again got to maintain spacing, and they really have to be sharp with their passes. They have to flash. They have to hit open guys early and on time instead of late. And but yeah, if we can limit our turnovers, limit CSUN's ability to get out. And punish us with our turnovers, I think we'll have good chance. The other thing is, I remember Elijah Hardy, their starting point guard, right? I think we talked about him last game a little bit, but he's another guy. There's several perimeter defenders around the conference that are really good with their hands, quick hands, get your hands on a lot of balls, and he's one of them. So we got to be extra sharp, especially Mcclanahan. He's been doing good these last several games, but he's got to be real good with the ball and keep it away from Elijah Hardy.
I remember Hardy. I think I mentioned this last game when we played CSUN. He was on the Washington team 2 years ago, and I hosted them, and he was good then. He didn't last a year. He had some academic problems, was off the team, and Washington just fell apart. Against Hawaii in that first game, he didn't score his first points until maybe 5 minutes left in the game. Again, I mentioned the 2 of 12 shooting. He was inefficient. He's a little bit, maybe this isn't fair, but he reminds me of a Long Beach State player in a way, where he's a good one-on-one player, has got talent, but also a little bit undisciplined at times. But he has that talent and the capability. Hopefully he won't score tonight like he's capable of. I'll take the 2 of 12 shooting and see if that will work out, and just hope for the best. And this CSUN team with only 3 wins, 2 against Cal Poly, 1 against Bakersfield. So their only wins are against the 2 worst teams in the conference. They are the 3rd lowest team in the conference. I hope that bodes well, but again, as we've seen with the upsets, and we saw what Davis almost did the other night and what Riverside has done. Riverside just beat Long Beach State and Fullerton on the road this week. I did not expect that. I thought that was almost impossible for them to win both, let alone one. So we know, and you've been through it so many times, you follow college basketball, we all know, especially at this time of the year, the unexpected can happen. So we'll see about that. We're going to come back, and we'll give our H-Factor player of the game. We'll give you an update on the scores and the standing and try to clear it up one more time. Gary Dickman and Derrick Low, and you're listening to the Rivals Pregame Show, brought to you by Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge, for every sport, for every game, for everyone, in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
Here's something new from Paxa, Hawaii's premier technology provider. HPE Electra powers your data from edge to cloud. The HPE data infrastructure is AI-driven, built for cloud, and delivered as a service. The solution provides fast, consistent performance and 99.9999% guaranteed availability. To learn more and to schedule a demo with Paxa, Hawaii's HPE Gold partner, go to paxa.com/Electra. That's paxa.com/ALLETRA.
Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge is your home for the ultimate sports viewing experience. Enjoy all the sports up close and in style. Enjoy March Madness with the best wings in town. Watch the NBA with a slice of Waikiki pizza. Then wash it down with an ice-cold seltzer or local brew. Rivals has one of Oahu's most extensive whiskey collections too. For every sport, for every game, for everyone. Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
Get ready for Woodcraft Hawaii's biggest sale of the spring. That's right, Woodcraft's March Mania sale happens March 14th through the 21st. Score big savings on your favorite brands, including DeWalt, Milwaukee, Makita, Bosch, Jet, Occidental, Laguna, and many more. Enter their Match Mania prize drawing and receive a free gift just for mentioning ESPN Honolulu. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for even more money-saving deals. Woodcraft Hawaii's March Mania sale is a slam dunk.
Here's a team physician tip from Dr. Jay Marumoto.
Although torn ACLs almost always require surgery, other knee ligament tears can often heal with proper treatment and rehabilitation with care from orthopedic associates.
Dr. Jay Marumoto is the University of Hawaii's most senior team surgeon. For the most advanced sports injury care, contact Orthopedic Associates at 536-2261 or go to oahawaii.com. Orthopedic Associates, Hawaii's team physicians.
Have you been to Midas Hawaii?
Hello, Tim here from Midas Hawaii, where we are more than just mufflers. We are complete auto care, rated #1 in customer service. We strive to make your experience more enjoyable, whether it be for a walk-in safety check 6 days a week, brakes to radiators, or oil changes and steering. With 6 locations on Oahu, 2 on the Big Island, 1 on Kauai, our goal is to expedite your service and get you back out on the road. We also want to help you save money. For great rates, check out our webpage at MidasHawaii.com for specials, online deals, for services such as oil change, safety checks, and maintenance packages. And let's not forget about our tire services too. Midas is a one-stop shop for all your car care needs and is proud to be locally owned and operated by the Pereira family. Come in today or call us for an appointment. Remember, it always pays to have the Midas touch.
You came for it, so we do that. So we might as well.
This is the Rivals Pregame Show on ESPN Honolulu.
Gary Dickman and Derrick Low getting ready for tip-off at CSUN. Bobby Curran will join us in about 10 minutes, giving us the starting lineup and the latest news. And throughout the game, or at least at the end of the game, I'm pretty sure I'll have the updated brackets, and it should be just about concluded. The only game at 5 p.m. today, the same time as Hawaii playing, is San Diego and Cal Poly. That has no bearing on anything to do with Hawaii or really anybody else in the Big West, because the UC San Diego games don't count. But we'll have more of an idea as we go throughout the afternoon, and by the end of the game, we'll have a definite time and opponent for Hawaii. Before we get into that a little bit more, Derek, let's go over our H-Factor player of the game for the last time this regular season. We'll do it in the Big West tournament. I said earlier, I got Bernardo De Silva, and it's mostly because he has to produce. He's really important. Doesn't matter to me who he's playing against. On his own side, he's got to be able to be more physical, more aggressive, get a few more rebounds, get fouled, commit fouls, and score a few points. So I'm going to put him as the H-Factor player of the game today.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. You know, definitely he's going to be important tonight. Yeah, today I'm gonna go with Kamaka Hepa. You know, he had a great game last game. You know, we were questioning, right? He had that injury scare the previous game. Yeah. We were wondering if he was going to play. And boy, did he come ready with 19 points and had a great game. So I just want to see him continue that, because it's the last game of the regular season, right? You know, they're going to need his leadership, his energy, and they're going to need his ability to put points on the board for them, especially on the road. So look for his leadership, energy, and his defense ability, you know, to be a factor tonight.
And he tied his career high with 19 points against Santa Barbara. That was a little bit, I don't want to say surprising, because we know he has the talent, but because of the injury last Saturday, as you said, we weren't sure what to expect from him. And he was lights out in that first half. I mean, he was just shooting, no hesitation. It was almost like he was in that zone that you and other basketball players have felt. I felt it in the park leagues, but it doesn't count as much. But I think good choices, Bernardo and Kamaka Hepa, will be very important. Okay, the latest in the Big West scoreboard for the game, 2 games in the book. Irvine defeated CSU Bakersfield by 5, 66-61. Riverside in overtime just minutes ago lost to Long Beach State 73-72. Long Beach State clinches the regular season title and the number 1 seed. I know Fullerton is still playing for something, and right now they are leading UC Davis 27-21, 28 seconds left before halftime. Fullerton would like to cement that number 2 seed, because if they lose and Hawaii wins, Hawaii would surpass them in the standing. Now, I'm not sure what the a 3-way tiebreaker would be. I believe it's head-to-head still. And because if Hawaii wins and Fullerton loses, then it's a 3-way tie for second, third, and fourth. And I don't want to make it too confusing. I'll have a better idea at halftime. But the way I look at it, if Hawaii wins today, assuming Fullerton does win, Hawaii, as I said earlier, number 3 seed, they get Santa Barbara. If Hawaii loses today, they would be probably the 6th seed, because they would lose the tiebreaker to both Santa Barbara and Riverside. And that way, they would probably be playing Riverside in the first round if they lose today. If they win, it's Santa Barbara. It looks like it's narrowed down to those 2 teams, and we talked about that earlier. You know, Ron Gannett said that they don't look at that. They don't even worry about who they're going to play or the other team. Do you believe that? Is that something that is going on with college teams, that they really keep their players and the coaches not to worry or think about those other schools and their scores?
Yeah, I mean that's why it's kind of been my mentality. Like, hey, whoever we're gonna play in the conference tournament, then so be it. It doesn't matter. I mean, a couple of times, you know, when I do the Pac-10 tournament, you know, our first game was against UW. You know, and that's a hard game, even though we owned them in my career. I get to say that. they're still a hard team for us because of the matchup and our rivalry. I mean, that's not who we really want to play, but who cares? Like we'll play them. We'll play whoever, just not UCLA. But
because that's a good point, because the fans focus on who's a better matchup, but as a player, you don't really worry about that. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And then we've played everyone twice already, maybe besides Riverside, right?
At Fullerton, we haven't played twice.
Yeah. But I mean, we have a decent understanding of how the other team is and what their tendencies are. So I mean, it's all comes down to scouting, and all comes down who plays well that game. And in this league right now, it's proven that anyone can kind of beat everybody, right? So
yes, that's been definitely proven. So I'll give you more updated scores at halftime for the Fullerton-Davis game. It is at halftime now, 30-23 Fullerton. We're going to wrap it up, take a break, and Bobby Curran will join us when we return, getting us ready for tip-off against CSUN. Again, I will give you updated stats and scores at halftime. Derrick Low, it's going to be great seeing you in Las Vegas. We'll be there for the Big West tournament for both the men and the Wahine. And speaking of the Wahine, real quick, they play tonight to clinch their regular season title against Santa Barbara. That broadcast will be on CBS 1500. Dave Kawada on the call at 6:50. We'll be back in a minute with Bobby Curran on ESPN Honolulu.
Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge is your home for the ultimate sports viewing experience. Enjoy all the sports up close and in style. Enjoy March Madness with the best wings in town. Watch the NBA with a slice of Waikiki pizza. Then wash it down with an ice-cold seltzer or local brew. Rivals has one of Oahu's most extensive whiskey collections too. For every sport, for every game, for everyone. Rivals Sports Bar and Lounge in the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger.
When you feel like Vegas, there's just one place to stay. Grab a drink at the Holo Holo Bar, there's just one place to play. We got a fresh, hot look, a new sports book. We got those local meals, just like Auntie cooks. Aloha spoken here.
Get back to Vegas with Vacations Hawaii. Airfare, hotel, meals, and transfers, just $777.
Play ball. Baseball is back, and so is Sports Stand Sporting Goods, Hawaii's best baseball and softball store, always at a price you can afford. Sports Stand has bats for all ages, gloves for all positions, and all the accessories you will ever need. Located at 94547 Ukea Street, Suite 303 in beautiful downtown Waipio. Or give us a call at 676-7826. Sports Stand. It's not just sporting goods, it's still a way of life.
At Jay Dolan's, Oahu's favorite local pub and pizzeria, manager Kristen Allspa trusts Makai HR.
Oh, it's easy with Makai. No paperwork to fill out, easy to get a hold of somebody, get an answer. Things get taken care of, and then if you haven't thought of something they have, they can help guide you.
Makai HR, your local human resource partner. Visit MakaiHR.com/value for your free, no obligation analysis.
Well, what you doing now?
I'm doing my own PV system, and I get homey fall-proof gear.
Ano, bubble wrap and duct tape going work.
Yeah, I get them. Check this out.
Okay. You okay?
I think that heat expanding stuff is true. Getting small and hot in here.
Oh, no.
It's raining over here. How we pump water stuff?
Oh,
careful.
Make sure to have an electrical contractor and licensed electrician do your photovoltaic installations and electrical work.
IBEW Local 1186, lighting your path to the future.